Hello, YouTube. I've been not feeling good the last couple days. Nothing serious, just working a lot and just been really tired. But I was looking around YouTube like I usually do with the unexplained things. And, anyways, I found a lot of interesting things. So now I'm gonna start my yarn project and we'll discuss all these unknown species stuff that I came across and pieced together for maybe a truth that maybe somebody doesn't know, or maybe, I don't know, somebody can research more. But, anyways, I got a new box, put a bigger thing in. So, possibly, I don't have a lot of issues like I always do because I have these crazy boxes that my phone falls through or something. But I think I have my board upside down again. I don't see how I'm supposed to write this way. Totally opposite. Oh, it happens every episode. I tell you. No matter what I do, it just always happens. Oh my god, now all the yarn got this way. I swear to God, I'm cursed with boxes. Okay. Alright, let's try this again. Alright. Let's try this here. Alright. Alright, I'm going to take a hit on my vape and I'm going to start braiding yarn. So I got to do 3 rows of this braiding before I do anything. But I came across these species. And anyways, it piqued my interest because all through history they talk about mystical animals all the time. It's a thing. They've talked about mystical animals through just about everything, honestly. Egyptians, they always talk about these mystical animals. They say the dinosaurs ended up getting extinct. Yes, I believe because the asteroid, blah, blah, blah. But what if there was a species? Okay, now you gotta count your rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if there was a species of dinosaur that survived? And kind of, maybe it was like a chameleon kind. It would look close to one of the hairless things that we always see that we say are aliens. I mean, it's a possibility. That's all I'm saying. Maybe one of these hairless species of. I'm saying there might have. We know that the alligators are part of. I put 9 strings because I kind of want to get this rolling. But we know the alligators are descended from dinosaurs. Maybe there was something else. Snakes. Honestly, I'm sure they're prehistoric. Maybe they were a lot bigger or looked different back then, but I'm sure they're prehistoric too. So we have all these things that are prehistoric just around us, and how can we how can we say that there's not? And then now they're saying that there's these history things on YouTube where people are talking about these lizard people, and they could change their appearance. Maybe there's some true sayings to this. Well, there's always a way for life to survive, even through an asteroid, unless the whole planet dies. There's always a way. We just don't know how or which way it's going to go. And how do you know that a race of snakes didn't survive from prehistoric times? We know that the great white shark is prehistoric. That we do know. So we got prehistoric things like that running around. How do we not know that maybe, it evolved? Like some of these things that did survive, the bigger lizards, they didn't. Like your T Rex and stuff, because it evolved. But how do you know that something else just didn't adapt? I mean, how do you know that some people didn't? Maybe it's not as extreme as what people think. Maybe they kind of blended in. Maybe even had sex with the things that came about. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here. There really is, and life finds a way. Just like in Jurassic Park, that's my favorite comment. Where the guy goes, "Life always finds a way," and he's not wrong. Life does essentially always find a way. I mean, and we're cloning people on top of it, and that was always been a thing since Dolly, since they did the first lamb, and then they wanted to do human testing, which I'm sure they did. You know, just because you say you can't do it, don't mean someone's not gonna break the law and do it. It's it's just what it is. It's who we are. You tell us not to do something, we're going to. And honestly, that's just the way life is. It's it's sad, yeah, but it's who we are. And there probably are clones out there, and maybe depending on like the different kinds of clones and stuff they're making, maybe that's how some of these different social stuff is coming about, like people having, I don't know, mental illnesses and stuff, or just looking strangely, mutations. I mean, we're playing God. I mean, we're not going to get it perfect because I'm not God. And if I was a scientist involved with the lab, I don't know if I could do as good a job as God does. It's better just to let nature take its course. But evidently, it's who we are. We don't. We dabble into things we don't fully understand, and things happen. I mean, it's sad. It really is. But I guess in a nutshell, that's just sometimes life. But I'm just talking, I was just, doing what I usually do. And then there's these, everybody keeps saying about these clones. They think Taylor Swift was cloned and this and that. And honestly, if you wanted a baby, they can guarantee if it's a boy or a girl in the lab. It's just going to cost you a lot of money. This is actual life. Would I want that? I'm not real sure. It kind of seems kind of scary to me, to be honest. I don't know if that's something I would want, but I'm sure there's people out there that really want kids that are willing to do this. But I mean, trying to play God is a playground sometimes you don't want to be involved in, because you really don't know what you're getting involved in, honestly. Because like I said, there's our DNA is trained to do certain things and has different mindsets. I mean, humans have a different gene where we learn to love and everything. I mean, even certain humans can have an aggressive gene. You get something that's kind of made in the lab and cloned, they may not have a conscience. Just go around torturing, killing people. I mean, we don't know. And I mean, that's a lot to play with. I'm waiting on my brother to get off work, so I'm going to do one row at a time with this. And then start my project this way, and I'm going to stream until he calls. But I'm just grabbing this, some random string to get started, and start getting this together. But yeah, when I was sitting there listening, then I was like, that kind of makes sense. I guess that could happen. Because it very well could. I mean, honestly, it doesn't. Okay, we're going to close that off. Even I get a bunch of scam likelies. It's not just you guys and different various people. And we all are victim to it. Alright, I'm just taking this and kind of twisting this over because I kind of want the rug effect on this. And I want to clean this up. I don't really want all of that there. I don't need all of that there, honestly. And I don't need all of this here. At this point, when you're doing like a small rug for your table, you just don't want a whole lot of junk on it. Like these two nets, I'm going to sew together and try to get this together. I'm slipping it through knots because I just want it to be that perfect little pot holder, a thing where you can like put hot stuff and different things on it. But I want it to look like a nice little rug for the table. So I'm putting it here. And I don't know the specifics of all that, but I'm just saying that it's possible. I mean, our scientific stuff has gotten way advanced. And when I say way advanced, I mean way advanced. We're able to do things that our ancestors only dreamt of. I mean, could you imagine in Roman days being able to clone your own army and stuff? I mean, it's scary stuff. But then you got to think to yourself at that point, what about humanity? Humanity would literally just cease because these guys would not feel connection to us. I mean, they're literally different in every way and probably stronger and smarter in every way. So they'd be more loyal to their people. So I think no one's kind of glazing upon the elephant in the room, I like to call it. Because you'd be the first of your own kind. I mean, you wouldn't have any true family if you were cloned. And what gives people humanity is your connections. Connections are a big thing, especially in human terms, because that's what makes people love or hate each other. It brings people together. And when you take that factor out, there's no telling where it's going to go from there. And I'm just saying, as a human to human, that's how I would feel. You feel like kind of like an outsider, not just with skin color, or race, or this or that. It would be because you would be literally different from everyone else. And you wouldn't feel the same as everyone else. And if you don't feel the same and there's no connection, you lose pieces of your humanity. You really do. Humanity is very, I don't know, it's very fragile. Humanity can be lost as easily as gained. And if it is true that there's clones out there, everybody should just be a little cautious because these clones are eventually going to get smart. And they're not going to like some of the stuff that we're doing. And if they don't have a voice and we don't include them and we treat them like we do the animals, there's going to be issues because these clones are going to want to live because that's what our species does, especially if they're using human DNA. We want we want to survive. I mean, that's the main thing. Survivalism is a big thing. It's in the animals. That's why they survive winters and everything. Because they got primal instincts that they want to survive and they're going to do what they can to survive. And we do. That's why a lot of people go to cannibalism. I mean, you could lie to the world about it, but in the end, it's just not going to be overly good for us. And we probably should just think about what we're doing in the world because it's just not good things, especially when you get involved with all that. But this is turning out really nice. I like the rug effect because I'm just going around in a circle, shaping it and going around in a circle. So he could just put it on his table. We'll see that side Chucky would be this side. But it's not bad. It's turning out to be a pretty nice piece. I think he'll be happy with it. But, it just, I felt bad. And I felt bad if they are really doing that because, I mean, just like in Planet of the Apes, that's kind of the idea of like cloning things. And there has been governments do try to want to do human DNA, like that one Stalin, I think it was, where he was trying to build an army, but they didn't have like the advancements. And a lot of people said if it was chimpanzees or apes, what he was trying to do, they would just want to listen to him. But it's sad that we got to run on fear like that. It really is. Because the world doesn't really have to do that. And it's sad when it comes to that. Because it doesn't need to be. And then, of course, you get all these. You get all the, I like to call the Christians and all that. They bring God in the equation. At this point, God doesn't have to get even with us at this point. It would be us just exploiting our own stupidity that gets back at us. So, I mean, God just sitting back going, okay, you're doing your own punishment. Because that would be the stupidest thing we can do. Literally. So, I don't know. I hope it's not true and these unexplained things I've been listening to. I hope not. I hope it's just a bunch of unexplained things that just didn't get all the way done and maybe some of it's fabricated. I hope it is. I really do. But knowing the way humans are, and I'm not even saying government or anything else, just how we are. Knowing how humans are in general, even if the government objected and wasn't doing it, there's just somebody out there that would decide to anyways. As messed up as that sounds. I mean, it sounds terrible, but yeah, even if there was a law and everything else put into effect, somehow, some way, some really rich person that has a lot of connections would do it on his own. And there we go. There's probably some rich person out there that's putting the DNA of human and animals together now. I would be almost certain. I'd bet my life on it. And they got enough money to throw around to do it and then to uncover it and say it's something else and then pay a couple people off and it's done. I mean, how hard would it be? How many billionaires are out there? Look at your poor. Look at the poor ratings and then you look at the rich. If you have a bunch of rich people and almost everyone's poor and there's more rich than poor, there who's going to police them? Who? I mean, they would at this point own most everything. If you don't have a middle class and it's only poor or rich, you pretty much are looking at the rich getting away with everything. And I'm not saying every rich person's horrible. They're not. But there's always your warped ones. Or maybe there is a really nice rich person, they leave their money to their kid and they become corrupted. There's corruptions in every branch. There really is. Nobody gets out of corruption, good or bad. There's corrupt bad and corrupt good. I mean, it is what it is. But trust me, there's people out there that is cloning animals, cloning humans. There's people doing it all. And they're lying to you, obviously, because they wouldn't be allowed to do it if they mentioned to you any of it. They would not be smart to do it. I mean, that's just human nature. You would have to cover it up if you were doing something like that. It wouldn't be smart of you to admit to it. You'd be crazy to admit to it. So, you enhance. You would have to kind of go with the flow and act stupid and do other stuff to cover it up. I mean, you would have to. That's the only way you could get away with it. And you couldn't be poor doing this at all. Well, there probably is people abusing their power out there in different ways, and they may have nothing to do with the government at all. Because everybody's quick to blame the government, but technically most governments are governments of the people. So corrupted individuals just see their way in there, and they kind of just take over. And if they really want something, their buddy or their pal over here is in charge of this. Hey, I funded your campaign and did this and did that. Can you help me here? And then his friends like, oh man, that's a big thing. I don't know if I could do that. Well, I don't know if I could pay for this. Or I know you're involved in this. Maybe I could tell everybody you're doing this. Then you get the whole thing of blackmail involved. I mean, deceitfulness is a dirty little slope, and believe me, there's a lot of it out there. And that's how these things kind of come upon in society in a whole. This is what they do. This is what happens. I mean, there literally is nothing we can do about it. It's probably something that's just going to naturally be a reoccurrence of happening over and over and over again. Because you can't blame their parents that had the money that gave them all that power, because I'm sure a lot of them weren't raised that way. Just like Jeffrey Dahmer, his parents were nice, and in fact, his parents were horrified to find out what he had become. I mean, people's parents aren't always to blame. Sometimes things happen and they inherit things, or they're just really smart and good with money. You could just be really smart and good with money and do bad things. I mean, it's a whole system out there. It really is. Some people are doing some good things with it, some people are doing some bad things with it. And it is very sad. See, I'm kind of sewing this in here because I had all that loose yarn. And I folded it over and decided to sew it. So if you do that, you kind of make a nice line and make it flush. And it makes it really nice, and you just come over, and in the back you can tell where those clumps are. But you kind of put it together nice. And that's what matters. But I mean, you don't have to take all my theories to heart. I have wandering thoughts sometimes. Sometimes I think of crazy nonsense. Sometimes in my little thought processes, because I do try. And these are just my random thoughts that go through my head. Because, you see things. You do. And I kind of lived through Jeffrey Dahmer and a couple things, and I remember how his parents were horrified, and they had a whole movie about him. It's because he wasn't raised that way. His family was nice. They tried to do what they could. He didn't really struggle. He was just not a good person. But my thing is he didn't have much of a conscience, and sometimes you're naturally born with that. But if you don't, you're playing around with genetics like they are, you might get a whole lot of people like that in the world. And I'm not sure if that's what people are ready for in the world. Because it's just not going to be a good thing if that happens. I don't think people realize that. People aren't realizing just a whole group of people with no empathy being born. That's what I see. I see a whole group of no one with empathy being born. But that's just me. So, all right, I did one row. I'm going to try to watch some more YouTube and do another row later. But I'm going to go ahead and end this and maybe come back and do another stream a little bit later and then finish out more of this. And thank you for anyone who listens. And if you have any other ideas about things going on in the world or just some ideas you might think I have to tweak up, please tell me. And I will listen in the comments because I mean, I welcome all ideas. So let me know what you think and what you think about my ideas, and maybe you could add more perspective to it because I would love that. And happy Valentine's Day. I mean, I won't be posting this on Valentine's Day, but you know, it is February 14th, so happy Valentine's Day, anyways, and have a good day.